The Mansion House in Dublin, official residence of the Lord Mayor. The Hall of Fame of this house hosts the crests of all the Lord Mayors in the history of Dublin. Amongst these crests there is one dedicated to Joe Nannetti, of Italian extraction, who was Lord Mayor of Dublin in 1906 and in 1907. In 1906, a gentleman called Joe Nannetti, of distinct Italian extraction, was Lord Mayor of Dublin, and he was reappointed also the following year in 1907. Over a century after, we have the pleasure of meeting a charming lady, Maria Parodi, who has just been appointed Deputy Lord Mayor of Dublin, and she also is of Italian extraction. Maria, do you consider yourself Italian-Irish, Italian-American, or both? Because you have a bit of a mixture in your descents.
Yeah, well, I would consider myself Irish, Italian, American. I would consider myself a bit of all, and I'm very proud of having that history.
Your father was Italian?
Yes, my father was from Genoa, outside Genoa in Chiavari, which is by the Cinque Terre. So it's a beautiful, beautiful place in northwestern Italy.
Yes. And your mother?
My mother was from Dublin, from Bath Avenue and Sandymount area.
Yes.
And
they met here?
No, they actually met
in America.
In America.
No.
Because my father left Italy when he was 18 to go work on the cruise lines, and my mother left Ireland when she was 19 to work on the cruise lines. So they met in Miami, working on the same cruise line, and the rest is history.
So you were initially educated for a few years of your childhood in Italy, and then you continue your schooling in America.
Yes. I lived in Italy for 3 years when I was young.
And how come that you settled in Ireland?
Well, I always had a passion for politics since I was very young in the United States, and most of my family lived in Ireland still. So I said I always wanted to come back to Ireland and get involved in politics, and that's what I did. I came back and joined the Labour Party. And
you are holding a very prestigious office. Do you feel a sense of pride for not being 100% Irish?
I do feel a sense of pride. I'm very proud of my Italian history. I think they've instilled a lot of values in me, my passion, and as well, fighting for the causes that I really believe in. And I think that's something that my Italian side, as well as my Irish side, has instilled in me. But that fiery passion I got from my father's side of the family.
Very good. And tell me something. Now you are involved in the running of this city, if you like.
Yes.
And is Dublin going to be one of the good, elegant capitals of Europe?
Well, I think that's
with all the introduction of new services and road surface and all this stuff.
Well, I think that's definitely the aim. Well, that's my aim anyway. And when I took the role, I wanted to make it more than just a ceremonial role, to really work on issues for the city. And I think Dublin is a fantastic city. But I think we are trying, one of the initiatives we're trying now in terms of transport, they have the Network Direct going on. And I fought very strongly to get a more reliable bus service in the area I represent, to ensure that people have that connectivity throughout the city and be able to use public transport. Not only that, I've also been fighting very strongly to get the expansion of Dublin Bikes, which is something rolled out across the city and in the areas I represent.
Which is blooming now.
Which is blooming, and it's been something that's been entirely, taken in by the Dublin people living in the city. Yes. And I think we need the further expansion of that. And with certain initiatives like this, I think we can only go up from there in terms of making Ireland a really vibrant city that people can live and work in and raise their families in as well.
Tell me something. We touch on the controversial point of the incinerator.
Yes.
You have some part in it.
Yes.
In negotiating.
Yeah, well, I have to say I've been avidly against the incinerator since even before I was ever elected as a councillor, a city councillor. I don't think if we're going to be looking towards having a vibrant city, I don't think we need a huge 600,000 ton incinerator bang in the middle of the city. And I think that there's a lot better ways that we can use the land down in the Fullbag area as an amenity for local people. So I think we can look at better models of waste management in our city. It's been done internationally in other countries very effectively, and I think that we need to be looking towards a sustainable model for our future waste in the city.
Very good. Now, we go to slightly controversial points. Everybody, Irish people living in Dublin or foreigners or whatever, complain about the charge for parking in the city, which are exorbitant compared to any other capital in Europe. Is anything going to be done about it, or is it just ingrained and it cannot be changed?
Well, it's something that can always be looked at and try to evolve over time. I think the incentive really started out because they were trying to incentivize people not to take their cars into town. So instead to use public transport, cycle, like I was saying earlier, and come in and out of town and make their journeys rather than congesting the streets in the city centre. And I think that's where that all kind of evolved from, and trying to keep, of course people, the thing is as well, you know, people do depend on their cars as well. And I think until we have a world-class public transport system, you know, that balance there, people you know, there is that balance there that you need to have. So I think it's always evolving. I don't think it's something that, you know, finite here, we can say right now, this is how it's always going to be. It's something that's always evolving for the best of the city, you know.
And in the same area, although I mean not your brief, it can be argued that the clamping system, although it is considered necessary for the reasons that you just explained, to discourage people to park illegally on the thoroughways of the city. But this is one type of clamping. Now there is the other type of clamping, which is NCPS, which were allowed to flourish as private companies who decide how much they're going to charge. In fact, whereas the corporation charges 80 euro for declamping, these guys have an average of 130 euro, which is robbery, daylight robbery. You know, I mean, the point that it is argued, and I'm one who argues this point all the time, is that whether it is on a private compound, by private arrangements, or on a thorough way, institutionally, or by local authorities, parking illegally is an offense of public order. So by delegating this, you know, regulatory body, if you like, or private companies to do whatever they like in charging people exorbitant money, it's like taking the law in their hands, into their hands. So by the same token, somebody has remarked, why don't we delegate or entrust vigilantes for the policing of the city?
No, I think it's important. You made a really good point there about, you know, the need for better regulation, because if you have, let's say, Dublin City Council charging 80 euro, and then you have, you know, 130. People kind of can get very annoyed and very aggravated about that. They say, "What's the difference?" You know. So I think this is something that needs to be looked into in terms of better regulation for the city, because it's only making it more equitable and fair for people that live in the city. Because if people feels like it's extortion and they feel as if, you know, what's the point of something like this, you can get very frustrated. There are those feelings.
You see, 80 euro is already a sum.
Yes.
130 begins to be almost the weekly wages of a very low paid
No, exactly.
person, you know what I mean?
And another issue that we've been talking about, just going on about the clamping, is that, you know, there seems to be, we were raising a kind of certain targeted campaign in certain urban villages where the clampers are hanging around all the time, someone jumps out. So you need to also give that leeway as well for people getting in and out of space. Like, don't get me wrong, if you're parked illegally, that's it. But I mean, like, you can't condone that behaviour, but it's something that needs to be regulated further.
Well,
so it's an interesting point you brought up.
Thank you very much, and I hope you do something about it in your office. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.